It's where we make our money. Metcons and intervals. This is by far the most bang for your buck you're going to get in our sport, in our style of training. This is basically the foundation of our sport. We are mixing different modalities and domains on a daily basis with everything you can imagine into Metcons and intervals, and exposing you guys to things that are not mixed together outside of the confines of your gym, right? Rarely ever do we see them mixed. And we do that so that no matter what you're asked to do, you can complete this task, and no matter what the next task is, you can quickly switch from one gear to the next and complete the next task. Doesn't matter what it is. We want you to be so complete that you can go from sprinting to steady state, from steady state to lifting super heavy and being explosive, from that to being a very high skilled, precise athlete doing something that takes a ton of focus. And we want you to be able to switch on a dime, right? That's why we mix things the way we do. That's why we create intervals, so on and so forth. So what I want to do is I want to write down a couple workouts. We can either make them up on the spot. I have a couple on my phone I can pull up that are just random workouts, and we can talk about how each of you should approach these workouts to get the most out of them each and every day. And if we do this a couple times, it'll help your critical thinking skills so that when you see the workouts, you won't just ram your head into the wall and see what the score is that we get to write down on the whiteboard, but instead you will approach them in a manner that best suits your need as an athlete. And when we do that day in and day out, we make the most progress the fastest way we can. So do we want to create workouts? Or we feel, I mean, you guys are just low energy right now. I feel like you had a bunch of carbs for lunch and you're on the downswing, so maybe I'll just use the ones I already came up with. No one's stopping me. Okay. Nope, nope, Xander, you blew it. Whoa, this is shaky. It's a lot of examples, but I think by the time we're done, you will think about the way you approach training differently. And this is the secret sauce. Okay, who wants to be guinea pig number one? No, you've done too much today. I need someone else with energy. Okay, you haven't done anything yet. Here we go. Your workout today, 3 rounds, run 400 meters, 20 chest to bar, 20 clean and jerk at 135. You get 2 minutes rest between each round. What's your game plan?
Running is the bigger weakness of all that, so try and run at a pace where I can ramp up.
What's your best 400 meter run? Do you know off the top of your head?
102.
Okay. And then the Metcon, it gives you trouble?
Ooh, yeah.
Okay. So what kind of pace are you going to run the 400 at?
Like close to 150-ish.
All right, and what are you going to do from there?
Try to break it to chest bars in 2s, or like 2 sets.
I was going to say 2s. We'd be doing some scaling, but that would be okay.
2 sets.
2 sets. And the clean and jerk.
And then the clean and jerks, hang on for the, since there's rest at the end.
You're going to hang off touch and go?
Yep.
Okay. So, your biggest weakness is the run. So what if we made you do all the runs in 90 seconds or less? Every time. What would that do to the rest of the workout?
I would be probably staring at the chest bars for a while.
Okay. How long?
Maybe a lot chalker.
Can we reasonably hit 5s?
Probably.
Probably? Is that a decent goal for you?
With a higher heart rate, yeah.
Yep.
Probably.
5s. What about the clean and jerk now?
Faster singles.
Fast singles. So we just changed, basically we just 180 the way you're going to do the workout. So now today, you get to work on your Metcon 400, and it would be better, frankly, for you if either there was no rest in here or it was flipped upside down so that the run was last. Because now you have a high heart rate working on other things, and you have to go out and maintain a pace that makes you feel real uncomfortable. That's going to train both mental and physical, allow you to hold something that's way above what you normally are willing to do. So that would be one way to, or a couple ways to change it. So I would set that up for you, 90 seconds or less. That's what you're doing today. If you come in and die and have to lay on the ground, stare at the pull-up bar, fine. That's what you're doing today. You're running 400 meters and you're running fast, sub 90 seconds. But you think you can keep 20 chest to bar and hit 5s. Good goal, perfectly reasonable. That's what I'm going to hold you to, 5s. If that means you have to stare at the pull-up bar for 7 to 10 seconds between 5s, that's what you're going to do today, because we're going to make this the rule, okay? The focus is on the run. That's where you need to focus. You just told me that, and you already know the answer, right? So you know. That's the key here. Lastly, clean and jerks. Yeah, it's nice to hold on and go touch and go. It's a great skill to have. Barbell cycling is underrated, but we can move a barbell almost as fast, if not as fast, doing, you know, very focused, steady singles. So I think that's fine. Or you could say, I'm going to pick the bar up and hold on for 3 or 4 and then go down to singles and finish because I know I have 2 minutes rest, or maybe you don't. Maybe you take that out and make this more difficult. Same workout everyone else in the room is going to do, but now you just made it very specific to you. Now you get to completely work on the things you need to work on. Make sense? That's how you should think about every workout. Okay? Give him a hand. Who's broke that down? Who's number 2? Let's go. Let's go with, so you thought you were going to get the handstand push-up one, but I might give you the bottom one. Now we'll go handstand push-up. AMRAP 7 minutes, 12 handstand push-ups, 8 deadlifts at 275. First of all, the big question is 275 appropriate for you for sets of 8 over and over again? Okay, wow, not me. We'll keep that there then, awesome. How are your handstand push-ups? They're horrible, okay. Can you meet the open standard?
Yes.
Okay, that's a step in the right direction. Is sets of 12 reasonable? Unrealistic. What's a good, reasonable set for you in a Metcon? 4. Okay. So what if we'd say, here's a real easy way to do it. Let's knock it down from 4 to 8, and let's put a rule on it that says you get 2 attempts max at the handstand push-up. You can have 1 mulligan if you kick up and kick back down, but once you start going, 2 attempts, and if it ends up with 5 or you end up with 8, that's the round. You go back to your deadlifts and you set up and pull your deadlift again. And we go through that over and over again for 7 minutes. The last thing I want for you in a 7-minute workout is what? No, that's the number one thing I want. The last thing I want is for you to stand around and waste 7 minutes, right? I want you to maximize as much time under tension as you can in that window. And we're going to sacrifice everything we've written down to get the intensity there throughout the 7-minute window, okay? So if that means either you give yourself that rule of 2 attempts max, or we take this down to like 6 and 6 even to kind of balance it out a little bit, because we don't want you just pulling 275 deadlifts for 7 minutes, or we put in a buffer where we keep the reps high and we say, okay, I'm just going to burn out because I'm going to have such a problem. You can throw in like a 100-foot shuttle. So you build this kind of buffer in there at the end of the deadlift to come out and back, and now you might be able to hit a quality set of handstand push-ups. Very minor tweak, right? You just basically build in a longer transition is all you're doing to allow yourself to keep moving, keep intensity, and hit your reps, get some practice in. Make sense? What's the thing you're going to do before this workout? Well, that's a great start, floss your shoulders, and how about practice the handstand push-up that gives you a hard time, right? So we don't worry about using up all our reps in warm-up. We need to make sure that we're hitting quality range of motion before we even attempt that. And you may have days where you warm that up and you go, this ain't fucking happening. Fine, doing push-ups. Push-ups and deadlifts, and the intensity is going to stay there. Fair enough? Give them a hand. Piece of cake. Easy. Who wants the last one? Blanky, let's go. Probably all your strengths.
No, it is not.
It's not?
No.
Okay.
Fuck, the GHD sit-ups are hard.
4 rounds. Pretty nasty. 4 rounds, row 1K, 30 GHD sit-ups, 150 double unders. What stands out as like the, oh shit, the GHDs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, first question, is that an appropriate dose of GHDs, 120? If you're afraid of them, is that too much? Is that going to fuck you up all week?
Not too much. It wouldn't mess me up at all. I just end up having to break the sets.
Okay. So one thing I would do then, if I was going to try to take this on as written, is I would spend some time on the GHD figuring out the distance between the foot pad and my ass pad and making sure that it's correct and the most efficient it could be. And I would be totally open to feedback from others. So even though it might feel correct to you, someone might come up to you and say, that's not going to work, that's inefficient. Or they might say, that's perfect. Why didn't you do that the whole time? What's wrong with you? So you might get one of two things, right? So again, play with that, make sure it's appropriate. If you're worried about burning out in practice reps again, then I'm telling you right now, 30 per round is just inappropriate. 20 is fine, right? 80 is a huge dose of GHDs. This is like a regionals level athlete or higher dose of GHDs in a workout. So knocking that number down, if you think you have to, never be afraid to do that. What about the row? Strength. Yeah, it's a strength, right? You had like a 4-minute 2K last night or something like that. So how would you try to make this either more difficult, or what kind of challenges would you set for yourself on that? Or would you not? Would you just say, I'm comfortable with it, so I'm going to focus on other things?
Well, in honesty, I'd probably try to win the first round and then I'd fucking die. But...
Okay, is that... Okay, so now you know that you're making mistakes. So let's say you don't do that. How else do you approach the workout?
Try to get under 330 on the route.
So each time you would try to get under 330?
Yeah, 330. Yeah.
Is that reasonable?
Yes.
Okay. So he's going to try to keep a pace that gives him a 330 row. GHDs, you said breaking them up. Can we keep them in 2 sets?
Be hard.
So let's knock down the reps then. So let's say we go 2 sets at 10 and we just take 20 this time, and over the course of the cycle, the year, whatever, we'll try to increase our ability to do bigger sets. So today it's 2 sets at 10, that's what we're sticking to. What about 150 double unders?
1 or 2 sets.
Very comfortable. So not a lot of change has to happen for you, but there are a lot of things you need to focus on. So obviously it takes a lot of focus to keep that pace in a certain place, especially because, again, I don't want you crashing and burning necessarily. That is appropriate in some workouts. This is a long workout, so I don't think it's appropriate here. And it's certainly not what it would be written with intention to do. So that's good. Now we have this new kind of skill because you've tweaked the GHD, you're trying something new, you're trying to figure out what the most efficient way is. So when you get there, you don't want to be so beat up that you can't focus on the new pattern. You don't want to go back to those old skills, kind of like we experienced in the first workout, where you just go to shit and then you wonder why you're not improving. We're working on kind of a new setup, a new way to approach this. So we're going to hit them with some intent. And then 150 double unders. Sounds like you're pretty comfortable there. You're just going to kind of rip out big sets to the point that you feel comfortable coming back around and then holding this, because you made that the rule. So if you blow yourself up here and this falls apart, it happens. Okay, you make adjustments. Maybe on the fly you say, all right, 345 is better, 330 is crazy. And then you just kind of hold yourself to the new standard. It does happen that way. But having a plan going in, that's really all you can ask. Not a lot of scaling needed. But again, you executed it, or you're going to execute it in a way that most benefits you, okay? And that's really all there is to that. So, big round of applause over here. Good job. So, we've just broken down 3 examples of how everybody could follow a templated program and make very specific adaptation to their needs with doing the same workouts. Now, one downfall to everyone doing the same stuff is we get our egos involved. We want to compare scores every day, and we say, you know, well, if I do it this way, I either won't have the same exact workout as somebody else, or I'm going to lose too much on my chest to bar and clean and jerk, so I'm going to lose by like 3 minutes. Who gives a shit? I don't care what your final score is. I only care that you, at the end of each workout, go, that was really fucking hard, and I think I figured something out like I can use moving forward. If you just run your head into the wall because you want to post a score on the blog or on a Facebook group, you're not getting the point. You're not training truly competitively. You're not going to make noticeable difference as fast as the people around you. If you're willing to look at this stuff objectively, make conscious change, make self-assessment, what is written on the blog can be 100% appropriate for everybody in here, whether you're following the master's program, the Hatchet blog as it is, an affiliate version of it. and knowing how to make it fit your needs, or having a coach willing or a training partner willing to help you make it fit your needs. This is how the blog, this is how Misfit in general is supposed to be attacked. This is the overall purpose of it. It's not to give you guys some sort of gospel. It's to give you guys the ability to make small changes, to make on the program, to make huge changes for yourselves going forward. Okay? Fair? Simple now that I explained it, right? Really straightforward. Questions? Yes?
So on the second workout, say that the weakness was deadlifts as opposed to handstand push-ups.
Yeah.
With that time frame, would you recommend going down in weight or down in reps?
So you can do either. It depends on what you want to work on. So everything's a choice, right? So both are appropriate. If like endurance, let's say like in the open workout with all the deadlifts, you found the weight wasn't an issue, but the endurance of lifting the bar is an issue, I would knock down the weight and hold myself to bigger sets each time. Even if that means I have to stand around an extra 3-4 seconds, I'd say I'm committing to my 8 or I'm committing to my 10 reps unbroken each time, and I'm building the endurance. If weight is an issue, and you want to work on the strength side of things, then you knock the reps down and you focus on pulling 6 quality reps at the higher weight, and that becomes the bias, the weight, versus the reps becoming the bias. So it depends on you. Both are appropriate. You have to take into consideration the circumstances of the day of training, the specific workout, what's paired with it, and what the intent and focus is of the workout when making that decision. Good question.
So in the last workout, if that seems like a lot of volume, do you suggest taking down the row or down the double unders, or doing 3 rounds?
Yeah, I like 3 rounds a lot of times. I mean, for this specific one, I would say, yeah, just knock a round off and get sort of the feeling of each, because depending on what your goals are, of course, the doses are not inappropriate, but going round and round over and over again as you get more and more fatigued, that doesn't make a lot of sense at the end. Once, at a certain point, it's diminishing returns. So if you just pull a whole round out, I think you can keep better focus, better intensity through 3 instead of 4. So in this situation, that would be my answer for most people. Had enough of me?
How do you know when you got it wrong? I mean,
what do you mean?
Lots of variables.
I get things wrong all the time.
Yeah, I mean, how do you know when you get it wrong? It's like, shit, I should have done, I mean, I've done this to myself.
So for you, so if you're trying to make a decision.
Just in general, just some mental things you go through, and you do a workout, and you modify, and you're like, at the end, you're like, damn, why didn't I add more here and take away less here?
Well, didn't you just learn something from that?
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why we do it like 5 days a week instead of once a year.
Feeling though.
Well, you're going to have that feeling. You know how many times I felt that way about putting a workout out and then seeing the scores, and I was like, fuck. That's not what I thought was going to happen. Okay, won't do that again. Like, you have to do the same thing for yourself.
Please edit that out.
No. Keep that in. Keep that on the record. One more question. Someone's got something they don't want to raise their hand for. Now's the time. Cool. Okay.
What if the whole workout's a weakness? Like, what if everything is just not where you want it to be?
Can you give me a quick example of one, and we can break it down? We'll do one more bonus breakdown, then we'll call it.
Everything is 2 out of 3.
Okay.
That first workout you got up there?
Yep.
The 3 rounds?
Yep.
The running and the chest to bars are both going to be problems.
Give me problems.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of a problem are we talking about here? Can you not run?
I'm just very slow.
You're very slow. Okay. Well, how slow? Like everyone runs out ahead of you and you're like walking back into the gym, or you can keep a pace the whole time, or, I mean, how slow are we talking, Paul?
The pace goes down and it deteriorates pretty quickly.
Okay. Even with just 3 of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe if you feel like this is a short enough workout that it should be intensity driven the whole time, because realistically, if I was like, okay, what's the worst someone should get on this? I might say 2 minutes, 90 seconds, and we'll say 90 seconds again. So we'll just say 2 and then 3, 5, so 15 minutes, that's a stretch. Like if you're at 15 minutes, I'm like, cap, you're done. That's just too much, you missed the point. I'm being like nice by letting you go 15 minutes. So if that's the case and I'm allotting you 2 minutes here, I might say, let's try to keep intensity through 300 meters, 200 meters, something like that. So I want you to run with some intent the whole time and come back in. Yeah, you can feel like shit when you get back in the gym from your run. That's pretty normal. I think everyone in here hates running 400 meters to start a workout. But I don't want you to be dragging ass 200 in and then be walking the last 200. So, and that's an exaggeration obviously, but so maybe you knock it down to just 300 meters instead, and that's kind of, you have your own little turnaround until you feel more and more comfortable with stepping that up. That's one way to do it. Or you can set that time goal that says, you know, I will get back in 2 minutes every time, and no matter what, I will get it done in 2 minutes. Chest to bar, how bad are they?
It's kind of the same idea. I can do them kipping, not butterfly, but they, again, all of a sudden,
Bye-bye.
goes from like 60 to 0.
How about that? Better? A lot better?
Yeah.
A little better? A lot better. Okay, and is 20 appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, how many sets does it take you to get 20?
2.
We're kicking ass now. Clean and jerk, good to go?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Very slight modification here, just made a big difference. Exactly, that's how it's gonna be with every piece. That's the point I'm making. Give it a little thought and you'll find your answer real quick. So give yourself an extra 10 minutes to write down your workouts in a notebook or whatever, make the little scratch notes, what I'm gonna do here, 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 and just stick to it. You'll find that it makes huge differences in your progress in a very short amount of time. So we pulled chest to bar out. Obviously you want to improve on chest to bar. If you get even more solid with your regular pull-up, especially the butterfly, it's not that hard to do a few skill sessions, 1 or 2 a week, that allow you to kind of come a little higher and higher, and in one day, I got it. And now I have sets of 3 or 5. You do some extra skill sessions where you're just hitting, you know, perfect sets, you know, 5 by 5 chest to bar pull-ups. You can do that. And where can you slide those in? Here or here. It's not a ton of extra volume, it's skill work. You'll have them in no time. It's that easy. Yeah, you just gotta want it and you gotta spend the time to do it. That's the hard part. That was the last question. Sorry. All right, I'll break the rules just for you.
Okay, so say you only have time to maybe jump in like a class walk.
Yep.
How or could you go about doing this thing? This is people, maybe people who don't follow like Misfit programming, just, you know, owners of the program. How do you go about like, hey, maybe I need to change this without like offending the owner?
What are you changing? The class WOD?
Like applying this.
Oh, yeah, that's scaling, man. That's appropriate. It's pretty rare that you're gonna scale up. I don't think there's really almost any time you're gonna scale up, and I'm not talking to you specifically. I am talking to you specifically, but I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about just if let's say it's 95-pound clean and jerks in the workout, fucking crush it, just hammer it. And then the next time when you have the time to train and do your own stuff, you do a heavier whatever, you know what I mean? You work on the heavy stuff later on. Just hammer it. If you have to scale something back because the workout is too much, then you scale. Like, if your gym owner's not letting you do that, you need to go to another gym. That's the end.
I'm talking like reps. Like they have 25 chest to bars.
Yep.
Workout, and maybe, I'm not saying for me, but in general,
I know.
only 15. I mean, they're not.
Just kill it. Just kill it. Just do what they wrote. Even if it's fast and brutal, kill it. That's how Max Bragg became a fucking superstar, because he did not scale up. He just crushed. And the intensity is disgusting to watch, and it's painful for everyone else to watch him go at lightning speed around it. And then he just makes regionals just like that. Didn't need to scale up. Scaling up is for people who think way too highly of themselves and people who want an excuse not to come in 5th on the whiteboard. Just crush. If you're confident, that's better. If you're questioning anything, you probably should have been scaling anyway. So just go out there and put on a show for everybody. That's what you should do. It's an opportunity in affiliate class. It's not a hindrance.
Every time I've done an affiliate class, and I take a whole lot of pride in being super familiar with our membership and who they are and where they are athletically in that kind of journey. Right? So whoever's coaching you, anything like that. The only time I scaled up is if you're a dick.
Yeah. For real.
Because there's a part of it you can push, and like, there's always a part of it you can push that's going to make you feel clear. like hold on to it, don't lose it or something like that. But like, cause I take a lot of pride and I try to develop our coaches like that, is being really in tune with the membership, like aside from like what's their name, like what are their needs, you know, like how to scale it down. Yeah, and you can tell who I was posting, right? I think Brenda said the same thing. She's there. But so yeah, if I've ever scaled up for anybody, it's like they're come in like, well, are you sure? I mean, because you know this stuff and you know I've been doing it for 10 years, so oh yeah, he needs a 30-pound ball. He should probably do 225 instead of 115.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's the time to scale them up for sure. Make them sorry.
And they never ask again.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those instances, like someone can do Karen, I'm broke.
Yep.
And it like would that be appropriate, or like sub 7 Helens and would make them have certain
Rare circumstances.
like when
Rare circumstances. Yeah, grabbing a 30-pound ball, like that's a minor scale up. And if you're at the point you're doing Karen Unbroken, you're pretty studly anyway. That's impressive. So sure, there are rare circumstances, but we're talking in general, basically. So yeah, you guys want to know something funny? I was supposed to do this in 30 minutes. I did it in 1 hour and 15. So we're done here. I think Carol's going to take it away. Is this true? That's true. Okay, go see Carol.